Hey, today I'm going to show you how I built this little micro app in just a couple of hours. I call it Signal. It sorts my YouTube comments into 6 lanes: buyers' objections, questions, content ideas, praise, skip, and it drafts replies in my voice, not ChatGPT's or Claude's. And I built it just in a couple of hours today, not weeks of research, no master plan. I just picked it because it was simple enough to me to demo the architect builder method in a short video. And I'm going to rebuild it. I'm going to show you how to do it in front of you the right way. I did it straight off the cuff, just like I would getting an idea out of my head. And I used Claude as my architect. I used Cursor as my builder, and I used my project launcher as the bridge between them to get it started right. But here's the part I haven't been shown in these demos. It's the brainstorming that has to happen before you ever even open the launcher or even start to talk to an architect or even a coder. You got to get it out of your head, right? There's some thinking. There's this, wait, what does this actually even do loop, right? It's the front end that no one really ever sees. And I'm creating this because of some comments that I've received and some people that I've talked to. They said, oh, how do you get this? There's so many questions to answer. You're right. And there's no right or wrong necessarily in how long it takes you to get the idea out of your head. And if you've ever asked me how to do this in Cursor, this video is for you. People have asked, can you do this using Cursor? Absolutely, you can. Front to back, end to end, including all the messy part. I show how it's done, including the part where I came in with almost no plan, and this method, this architect builder method, covered me. And before we start the build, again, I want to show you a comment that kind of changed or sparked the idea for this. I got from Brian, who says here he purchased the product launcher and used it last night to build an MVP mobile app. And it was a breeze. He said it required 4 sprints and it took a little less than an hour using anti-gravity. And that's awesome. But this is the part that I really want you to focus on. However, I spent several weeks conducting product and market research so I could provide the launcher with context for features, constraints, style guides, so on and so forth. He's not a coder, he's not an app developer, but he's built several applications with the help of AI for the work. And this project launcher is helping him get it done right. Well, that's the key, right? Nobody sees the front end side of it. And that's what I want to show you. Brian spent weeks getting this idea out of his head, doing research, and that's fantastic. And it made his experience with this process almost seamless. I spent 10 minutes brainstorming on the fly with a little micro app that I have. I wanted to show that, what if I just did this, get this out of my head, and I want to show you that process, which I haven't shown in any of my videos. So both of us, Brian and myself, shipped working software with this architect builder method. Why? Because the method has a safety net that I'll show you in a few minutes, that both paths end in the same place, whether it takes you weeks to brainstorm and get the idea, or if it takes you a couple of minutes, like in the case that I'm going to show you here. I want you to see that most people don't show you the thinking or what it takes to get your idea out of your head. So I'm going to show that in this video today. So now we're going to start brainstorming with Claude. No project, just turning on the microphone and start to brain dump my idea of how I want this app to work. It's going to ask me some questions. It's asking about my brand, about my personality. I said, I do have a brand document as I was sitting there. So I'm going to go grab that document that I got on my hard drive and give it that. It's asking, this is cool. This works. Any other examples of your voice, like marketing material? So yes, I do have some marketing material. So I'm going to dump that in there. My homepage, my HTML, my website. It's asking of comments that I've made on previous YouTube videos I've done. So I upload that. It says, great, I see what your voice is like. I'm going to rewrite your brand document. That's cool. And then I said, what's the user interface and the workflow going to be look like? So let's churn away in that. I'm going to take that new brand document and put it in the right location. And he says, okay, yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Here's some decisions we need to make. What's the input going to be? And I said, it's going to be a CSV. It says, let me see what the CSV is going to look like. So I download the CSV. He said, this is great. We're getting close. I think we can fill out the intake form for the launcher really soon. And that's what we do here. We go to the project launcher, and I'm going to take a screenshot of the intake form on the project launcher. And I said, hey, can you help me fill this out now since we've been brainstorming about this? And it goes, absolutely. Here's all the answers in a markdown document. I take that markdown document, start a new project in Project Launcher, and use that markdown document to help me fill out all the forms. That's a good technique and why the brainstorming on the front end is so valuable. This is how you can get really robust answers so you can have a great initial conversation with your architect. And that's what we're trying to do, set up a great conversation with the architect. So now the project is created. We can edit our inputs here if we want to change anything. But now we've got a couple documents. But before we go to those, we do a couple things. I want to set up our architect. We'll come back to this here in a second. So we need to set up our architect. So we need to do a couple things to set up the space. Now I'm going to go to Claude and set it up in Cowork. You can do it in Claude Chat, but I'm going to do it in Claude Cowork if you have it. New project, and we're going to start from scratch. And it's going to ask a couple things. First, we're going to give it the name, which is going to be Signal. Now, this first box right here is custom instructions. All projects, like in Claude and ChatGPT and projects, they have custom instructions. In the project launcher, there's a place where you can go grab the custom instructions. This is critical. You want to copy those. And it's has the architect builder personality. And that's what we're doing. We're setting the personality of the project in these custom instructions. And that's why this is so critical. Again, you grab it from the project launcher, you copy it, and you paste it into here, setting up your project, which is going to be your architect. This sets the personality. Important. Now, the second thing is a place for reference files. And we go back to the project launcher. There's a reference file in that same architect workspace setup right there on the top. We're going to download that markdown file. I'm going to take that markdown file that I download from the project launcher and I'm going to put it in this reference portion for the project. This is the methodology. It's real critical. Now, there's no ambiguity. If it has this in here, it knows how to act like an architect. And that's why we want to put this in here. It's so critical that you have this. Those two things, the personality and that reference file. And now you're golden. Your project, your architect is now set up. It's primed to have a great initial conversation. So that's what we want to do. We're going to go back to our project now that we just created. This one Signal. I'm going to open it back up. And over here, step one, it says save the generated folder. This is the unique folder structure for this project. This is what the launcher does. This is why you paid for it. You're going to download that file structure. It's all primed and ready to go. This is the architecture that you're paying for. You're going to unzip that folder and it's all right there. It's got your file structure all primed. The scaffolding is ready to go, ready to receive the input in the correct format. So you need to find a place to put that on your hard drive. You can put it anywhere. If you got a folder called projects or whatever the case may be, I have my folder in a folder called builds in my 120x folder. So I'm going to go to builds and I'm going to put this newly unzipped folder that we just created with that file structure into my builds folder. Again, you can put that folder wherever you want on your hard drive, but this is where I'm putting mine. It's got the file structure all primed and the scaffolding ready to receive input from the architect and the builder. And that's exactly what you want. Now you're in a great position to start talking with the architect. So we go back to the project launcher and we go grab the architect starter prompt. And you see it right here. This is the starter prompt. Again, it's specifically filled out for the project that we just created. It's got all the correct input, the names, everything. This is unique to it. This is why you bought the launcher. It makes it easy for you, reduces that friction. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy the starter prompt here. And now we're getting ready to have that conversation with the architect. And we go in here and we paste that prompt and away we go. Now, Claude here isn't creating files or even code. It's asking us questions. It's finishing the intake. We gave it a pretty robust project launcher input, and it even said so in here, but it's still asking me questions. I should have put the brand document in the CSV. That's what it's asking me, and that's the safety valve of this conversation. So no matter how much you filled in or how little you filled in, it's not going to create the architect pack until it has enough information. So that's what's all happening here. And at some point, it's going to say generate the pack. And I say generate the pack. And now it's creating the first architect pack. What is the pack? Again, think of it like detailed plans and drawings giving to a general contractor. It's creating detailed files and instructions for the builder. And over here on the right, you can see it, the first architect pack that we created, a very comprehensive document. A lot of detail that's going to tell the builder exactly what to do. Now you can see it writes it to in our file structure over here. If I can open up my project and go to Signal, and if you look in here, the architect pack was written into the appropriate location by the Cowork, which is exactly what we wanted. And so in addition to the pack, he gave us a couple commands to give the builder for a dry run and an application, which will make sense here in a second because we're getting ready to talk to the builder. So in this case, we're going to use Cursor as our builder. You can use Codex or Claude Code, but I'm going to use Cursor. But the most important thing is make sure we're navigating to the appropriate folder to work out of. So again, that folder that was created by the project launcher, and then we put in the location. In this case, I put it in builds. Now it's primed and it knows what files to work out of. So now that we've got the builder set up, there's a command in the architect for the dry run. And basically, this is just a sanity check to make sure that the builder knows what files we're supposed to read. And he's supposed to report back to me on that he's reading the right files and folders from the architect pack. So he found the pack. He said, yep, this is what we're doing. Do I approve? I'm going to say, yeah, it looks good. I'm going to go back and there's a command from the architect to apply it. And so basically what he's doing now is he's writing to the folder structures based on the instructions from the architect pack. So essentially what it's done is it created this sprint that he's going to execute here momentarily. Now this first sprint was just to write and make sure that the folder structure and the files were written to. And so there was no code to be actually written. And so the architect says we can start creating architect pack 2, which will actually start writing the code. So I'm happy with that. So I say generate the pack. The architect is going to start generating architect pack 2. So while it's generating, one more admin piece, go to GitHub, set up a repository so we can push the code to the cloud. So signal.-120x, create the repository, make it private. Now I got a link and that's good. So now the architect is now done with architect pack 2. Okay, so it's got the dry run prompt and the apply prompt, and then the builder prompt is set in the file structure. But here's architect pack 2 with all the detail that we want. We can go look at the file structure. This is Obsidian. You can see that we've got architect pack 2 all ready to go. And we just repeat the process to have it to do the dry run and apply it. And it will then create sprint 002. So that's what we're going to do right now is we're going to apply the dry run to the architect or to the builder and start a brand new sprint. Okay, so I'm back in Cursor and you can see we've got sprint 001 there. I'm going to start a new sprint, making sure that it's in the right folder to make sure I started a new one and we're pointing there. And I'm going to paste the dry run prompt to have it go read and find the architect pack. It's finding the pack. I'm going to rename this sprint 002 so we can stay organized over here. But it's reading all of the files in the architect pack and understanding it's not writing any code. It's just getting smart and doing what it told it to do to read it to make sure it's there. And once I get a sanity check from this, I'll have it apply it, and the application will again write to the folder structure, and then we will write the code. But right here, he's just reading what we got. We're just doing a sanity check. We can copy this if we want to and ask the architect to approve it. But I'm looking at this. This looks good. I'm going to go ahead and approve it. And essentially what it's doing right now is writing the instructions, updating files, doing what it has to do. And now I'm going to go to, it wrote the sprint, which you see right here. And in the sprint, we've got a handoff prompt. I'm going to copy that handoff prompt. Again, this is an Obsidian. It's just a way to view it. And now we're going to go back to the builder and paste that handoff prompt. And basically, it's going to write the plan and tell us exactly what is the plan you're going to do. And then I'm going to approve it. And then once we approve it, then it actually starts writing code. Now you may go, why are we doing it? Why are we so back and forth with this? Because there's no ambiguity this way. You're not going to get hallucinations. You're not going to get junk code. It's going to be crisp and clean. We're going to keep it isolated and telling this builder to do exactly what we tell it to do. Now you can see it's coming up with its detailed plan right here. So I'm going to take this plan. Again, he hasn't written any code yet. I'm going to take this plan and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to ask the architect, hey, does this plan look good? And if so, we'll say approve, and then he'll write the code. So I'm going to copy this and send it back to the architect. So I paste it in here for the architect saying this was the plan. What do you think? He comes back and says, hey, it looks good. I approve it. I go back to the builder and say you're approved, and it starts writing the code. And you can see that it's writing. You can actually look at the file structure over here. What's nice about Cursor, you can see the actual code getting written. Again, it's another representation of the file structure, but it's writing the code at this point. This is the first time in this whole process that we're actually writing code, writing Python code in this case. So we are well under our way of applying Architect Pack 2. So essentially, it eventually creates a minimal viable product for me at the end or near the end of Sprint 2. We test it out in the web browser. It seems to be working okay, but then at the end, we find we've got some sort of runtime error. I was exceeding the API limits. So I go back and forth between cursor, giving him the error, and then we test it. And what you're essentially seeing right here is me going back and forth until it works. It seems to be working. He says it can close out sprint number 2. And so I'm copying this. I'm going back to the architect saying, hey, he says he's done. I've tested it. Everything seems to be working fine. What do you think? And essentially, it's going here saying, hey, sounds good to me. If you think we're good to go, we can close this out and you can commit and push your code. So I go back to the builder and ask him to do exactly that. Commit everything we've done, push it to GitHub, and you can see right here, we've got it pushed to the cloud. So we're safe and backed up everything that we've changed. So now we need to go back to the architect and start architect pack 3, which is what we're doing here. He's asking me some questions and he's generating architect pack 3. And we're rinsing and repeating the process. So I'm going to speed this up, but it's basically the same thing. Architect pack gets created. We put the pack into the file structure. We do a dry run. We do an application, and then we have him execute the plan, the builder execute the plan, and we go back and forth until we're satisfied that the sprint can be closed. And once the sprint's closed, we start Architect Pack 4 and rinse and repeat the process. At the end of the day, we did 4 sprints, a couple hours worth of work. Again, going from nothing, just brainstorming with Claude, to getting a product which eventually was branded to my colors and seems to work. As you can see right here, I'm uploading comments from a recent YouTube video. It's reading them, it's generating them. Having Claude API is writing the responses. I can improve, edit, I can regenerate, I can export these to a CSV, I can paste them to my YouTube and handle my comments. But again, not bad for a couple hours worth of work. Hey, so Brian, if you're watching, thank you. This whole video exists because of your comment. You named the thing that nobody was naming, all the work that I had to do up front. Look, the launcher didn't replace the thinking, right? You didn't press a button, everything created. It captured it. Brian, in his example, he spent weeks of research. I did 10 minutes brainstorming on camera. Both work because both are the same kind of work, depending on the varying degrees of the complex of the project as well. But the launcher just makes sure that the work doesn't evaporate the second you close the chat. That's the safety net. And as part of that, I want you to take home. There are 2 layers of thinking protection in this architect builder method. Layer 1 is your own pre-work. The more that you do, the better you're going to be. However much or how little have you done, however, though. Layer 2, the architect itself, in this case, it was Claude Cowork. It can be Claude, it can be ChatGPT. In the chat, refusing to ship a pack until it has enough context. That's key. It's built into this project launcher system. If you get that setup, the personality setup, and you get the methodology as a resource, you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to create an architect pack until it has enough context. Look, you don't have to be Brian on day 1. Brian did a great job because he spent all that research on the front end. But the method will pull the rest of it out of you, one way or the other. And as long as you respect the handoff, you'll be prepared. But prepared or unprepared, the folder's not going to lie. The folder's the truth. That's why this system is so powerful. And if you've been wondering if you can do this in Cursor, well, of course you can. That's why I did it this way. The project launcher is agnostic, or the method is agnostic, right? You can do Claude Chat and Codex. You can do Claude Chat, Claude Code. You can do Gemini and Codex. It doesn't matter. I primarily use Claude and Claude Code, or ChatGPT and Codex. That is my preference. If I was going to do a next sprint on this project that I created, the 4 sprints, I might do a YouTube API integration so I don't have to use the Chrome extension and upload a CSV. But that's a project launcher sprint too. I might film it. Tell me in the comments if you want to see that. If you want to go further, you can always get the launcher right here to use it for yourself. It's an introductory $149 one-time fee. It's going to go monthly subscription here sometime soon. But if you want to get it lifetime access, you'll get all the changes. It's there for you, $149. Builder cohort, if you want to build with me, I got a small group of people. I'm looking for a few more seats. You can apply at 120x.ai. The link's in the description. All right, architect first, builder second. The handoff is a folder. I'll see you in the next one.